The reason for the title is that totally unintentionally, I became the original civilian investigator of the Roswell incident. It seemed very probable, since many of the people have died, that if I hadn't gotten them all rolling, you might not have heard about Roswell at all. And I certainly didn't expect to get them all. And I gave my first lecture about flying saucers in somebody's living room in 1967 in Pittsburgh. I was working on radiation shielding for nuclear rocket reactor propulsion systems. And we built one system this big in diameter. Power level was 1,100 megawatts, which is half the power of Hoover Dam, which is a little bit larger than this. Aerojet General built one of 1,000 megawatts, and then Los Alamos right here in Mexico. They were all tested out of Nevada in jackass flats, you know, Los Alamos was a little bit bigger, less than 8 feet in diameter. Power level was 4,400 megawatts, twice the power of Hoover Dam, this big. The exhaust temperature, liquid hydrogen goes in very cold and comes out very hot. The exhaust temperature is over 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So naturally, we had these very successful tests, and they canceled the program. And I then got a job that I thought would be the greatest job imaginable. I couldn't give any lectures, but talked to McDonnell Douglas. They had some people who were very interested in UFOs. McDonnell Douglas astronautics made me a job offer. My job would be to figure out how flying saucers worked. Good answer, right? McDonnell Douglas astronautics on the MOLE program, and work on laboratory. Well, that was a real challenge. I was driving across the country to take up my new job, with my family later. And I heard on the radio that the MOLE program got canceled. I walked in with my offer letter and great reception. You realize we just laid off 5,000 people. Yeah, I heard about that. They kept me for 3 months. But then I knew that I had to earn a living for my family. And I started doing mailings to colleges, 1,000 at a time, get a few who booked me, and then I get on the phone call on a cheapskate. And when you live in California, you can call back east early, before 8 in the morning. California time's a lot cheaper. So I started, that was in 1970, and here I am, a full-time ufologist ever since. I know some people say, "I should retire." Why should I retire? I enjoy what I'm doing as long as I'm healthy. Get to see the world. I didn't expect it. 19 countries, 50 states, 10 Canadian provinces. And all the talk about flying saucers. Not all the lectures were the same. I didn't just, cookie cutter stuff. But Roswell has been an important part of that. It wasn't what got me started. I read a book in 1958. They only ordered the book because they needed one more book, so I wouldn't have to pay shipping on the other books. And there was one for $1. Hardcover book, The Report on Unidentified Flying Objects by Captain Edward Ruppelt. He had been head of the Air Force Project Blue Book back in the early 50s. So I figured, what the heck, a buck wasn't going to cost me anything because the shipping would have been more than that. I was intrigued by the book because he did a good, it was a very lucky first book, because I read a lot of books after that. If I read them first, I never read another one. And I loaned the book to my neighbor. Charlie was 10 years older than I was. He was an engineer. He was very impressed with the book, and that impressed me because I was impressed with Charlie, good engineer. Moved off to California, read 10 more books, some of which were garbage. And then, an epiphany. I found Project Special Report number 14, biggest study ever done on flying saucers with the Air Force. But it hadn't been mentioned in any of the 10 books that I had read. How could that be? Nobody talks about this. And it was chock full of data, and I was in data heaven. Hundreds of tables, charts, graphs, maps. It was a privately published version. The guy included the press release. The Air Force put out. They didn't distribute the report. They distributed a press release in which they lied. And believe it or not, I was surprised. I don't expect to be lied to by the Secretary of the Air Force lying to. And he made a quote that sticks with me forever, and what provided an incentive for me to get involved. On the basis of this study, we believe that no objects such as those popularly described as flying saucers have overflown the United States. Even the unknown 3% could have been identified as conventional phenomena or illusions if more complete observational data had been available. Wow, that took care of the problem. Didn't need to put out the report, just the press release. The only trouble is I had the report, and I'm a data hound. What's this 3% nonsense? The unknowns are 21.5%. 21.5 is not 3 rounded off. They also asked an obvious question. If you get a bunch of scientists, what questions would you ask? Well, you got data on 3,201 sightings. All kinds of data, current size, color, shape, speed, this sort of thing. You'd say, well, is there really any difference between the unknowns and the knowns? Let's do a cross comparison. Chi-square statistical analysis brain. When they did that, they found the probability that the unknowns, or just the unknowns, was less than 1%. It is not true that the unknowns were just misknown. And they had a separate category, insufficient information, so that wasn't true either. But maybe I'm brief. I was a naive young man at the time, and I don't like governments lying to me. Now we take it as routine, but back there was a time when people believed what the government said. So I joined APRO and NICAP, the two big UFO organizations, to get their newsletters. Started talking about it at work with guys, and moved to different companies, moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I had read Frank Edwards' book, Flying Saucer Serious Business. Anybody? A few hands. Frank was a journalist from Indianapolis, and that's where I got to know him. One of my 3-year stints. You'd work 3 years and then cancel the program. You get a new job, you move 1,000 miles, you work 3 years, they cancel the program. It was a syndrome. Frank gave me a copy of his book in the mid-'60s. It was a bestseller. And when I got to Pittsburgh, I called Frank. And give me some media names here, Frank. I want to go public. Thank you. He did. He knew everybody. And one of the names was the producer of a radio show called Contact, on the biggest station in Pittsburgh, KDKA. And they had a talk show. And I called, gave my credentials, a Westinghouse nuclear scientist in Pittsburgh. That would be gold-plated credentials. Westinghouse town, you know. Don't call us, we'll call you. Less than a month later, they called me. At 6:30, could you do the 7 o'clock show tonight, please? Somebody had canceled at the last minute, and I didn't live far from the station. The benefits of geography, I guess. Yeah, I could do that. So I did. Dashed down to the station. Didn't know what to expect. I'd never talked to the bunker before, you know. So I did the show. I was not as good then as I am now dealing with nasty, negativists, as I like to call them, when I'm being polite. And somebody at work, a woman at work, heard me on the show and called me and said, "Stan, I'm not speaking to our book review club. We're reading Frank's book." Sure. My first lecture was in somebody's living room, a few dozen people. They liked it. I did the show again. I got more talks. And one day, 2 days and 3 years, I was driving to work with Joanne, who was a supervisor with a PhD from Carnegie Mellon. And I was, Westinghouse was, Astronuclear was in a small town called Large, outside of Pittsburgh. And we both lived downtown Pittsburgh, so my car was in the garage. And I'm talking to Joanne and said, "Gee, I'd like to speak to Carnegie Mellon." And she said, "Did you talk to the dean?" No, I talked to Dr. So-and-so, and he wasn't interested. He said, Stan, he's my husband. He's heard you on the radio several times. Why don't you give him a call? Inside track. So I called Jean, her husband, and we set a date right away, 3 weeks later. But it was an afternoon talk, which meant I'd have to take some time off work. Time off work was money. So his last question was, how much do you want? We set a time in an afternoon, 3 weeks hence. How about $100? I thought he'd knock me down to 50. This is 1970, when I was there. Well, he was good. No, he paid me the 100. But then, because I knew his wife, he told me what he was paying the other speakers in the series. 1,500, 1,700. But the talk went extremely well. And he wrote a nice letter to the agent through whom he had booked these expensive speakers. And they booked me at the Engineering Society of Detroit. I mean, how much more respectable can you get than that? They were sold out 3 weeks in advance for 1,008 people for dinner and a talk. $300 and expensive. We're in the big time now. They don't pay me nothing, but you know. So that got me started, and I was impressed. I'm not an engineer, I'm a nuclear physicist, but I certainly was impressed with the Engineering Society of Detroit. These are professional people. They're not little old ladies in tennis shoes, not people with tin hats. And that encouraged me because the response was so enthusiastic. I didn't have any debunkers or anybody give me a hard time or anything like that. So that got me started. And then another talk right here in New Mexico was very important too. I had a call from my counterpart at Los Alamos, radiation shielding for nuclear rockets. Hey, I hear you're giving lectures, Stan. Yeah. Hey, how about speaking to the American Nuclear Society chapter here at Los Alamos? Oh, I'd love to. No, I mean on an expense account, Stan. I said, I don't make those decisions. I'm in Pittsburgh. Yeah. Talked with management. I mean, they're a member of the American Nuclear Society, so am I for that matter. And they agreed. They paid for me to go from Pittsburgh to Los Alamos to give a talk, Flying Saucers Are Real. We didn't hide it behind a technical discussion. Sometimes people have a way of doing that. And again, they had over 400 people there. I was very impressed. I was still young. And so, you know, here I am all these years later, still talking about flying saucers. That was still in the 60s. Now, how did I get involved with Roswell? Well, I had a false start. Living in Northern California, a colleague and I, we wrote some articles together, talked to a forest ranger who had a great sighting. They have a good view of the scenery, you know. And we talked to him. And he said, you really ought to talk to my mom. She had a great sighting over in Albuquerque. Okay. Her name was Lydia Sleppy. So he told me where she was, and I go home. And yeah, she did have a good sighting. But somehow, in the discussion, it came up that while she was working at a radio station affiliated with the Roswell station in Albuquerque, she told me they had a call from the station manager down here. The saucer had crashed and was going to be shipped to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So people she got a call because she was a good typist. She wasn't a journalist. And a woman down here was dictating the message. And something happened and it said, do not continue this transmission. And the woman down here asked her boss, what do I do? Stop transmitting. So that was a fascinating story. And I had no reason, you know, the woman wasn't looking for publicity or anything like that. And I did track down a few of the people, but I only got so far, and well, I don't remember, and you know, a lot of years later. But then, I was in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, to give a lecture at Louisiana State University. Flying saucers are or something like that. And the students from there brought me over to the big television station in town. And I was to do 3 interviews, be interviewed 3 different times because they had 3 different time slots they wanted to use this. I guess it was quiet that day. And I mean, under the auspices of a college that impresses the station too. I wasn't just a wandering ufologist. And I did the first 2 interviews. And the 3rd interviewer was nowhere to be found. Didn't have cell phones back then. So the guy's looking at his watch, station manager, Phil Allen. He's giving me coffee, want some coffee? And he's trying to figure out how he can get me for the interview. But where the heck is the interview? And he suddenly said, you know, the guy you want to talk to is Jesse Marcel. Brilliant investigator that I am. I said, who's he? His next sentence changed my life. Oh, he handled pieces of one of those saucers you're interested in when he was in the military. What? I mean, he wasn't making a joke. He was being serious. There wasn't anybody around to laugh. I said, what do you know about him? He lives in Houma. That didn't tell me anything because they didn't know where Houma was. I've been there since to talk to Jesse. He's a great guy. We're old ham radio buddies. You ought to talk to him. The reporter shows up, did the interview, was busy the rest of the day, had a great response, which is always encouraging. So at the airport the next morning, I called information. For those of you in the computer age, that's how we used to get calls. When I told somebody that, what do you mean called information? Don't you just look it up on your computer? Back then, they didn't have a computer. I got a number for Jesse A. Marcel, the only person. Houma, Louisiana. And I called him, and I mentioned Phil Allen. He knew him. They weren't ham radio buddies. And I found out later, incidentally, that Jesse had never told Allen anything. He had seen the article in the New Orleans Times, Bigelow, yes. There really is such a paper. And during one of their radio ham things, he had asked Jesse about that. Jesse said, I can't tell you anything about that. So it's just not that he had told him anything, but he saw the article. So Jesse told me a story. I stressed that I was a nuclear physicist. That Jesse was the intelligence officer here at Roswell for the 509th. And don't let anybody tell you it was a bunch of dumb guys sitting around making up stories. It was the most elite military group in the entire world. I don't say that lightly. That's because they were the only ones who had ever dropped an atomic bomb. They dropped 2. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Dropped 2 more in Operation Crossroads in the Pacific. High-level security, all veterans. You know, most of the people got out of the military at the end of the war in 45. The officers who stayed on got good jobs because they demonstrated their capabilities. And if you're going to monkey with nuclear weapons, boy, you want the best guys you can get. And they all had to have high-level security clearance. So I was impressed by the story because you don't get to be the intelligence officer for an outfit like the 509 if you're just a dink. Well, you know, there were thoughts that there would be a nuclear war, and the atom bombs were here, and nowhere else in the world in 1947. The noisy negatives don't tell you that. I heard them say that, oh, Colonel Blanchard, he was just a loose cannon, the commander of the base. Sure. He went on to get 4 more promotions, was a 4-star general and vice chief of staff of the United States Air Force when he died of a massive heart attack in the mid-60s. That's a lot of promotions. And on his way up, he had thousands of nuclear warheads under his control. That's not a job for a loose cannon. I did talk to his daughter and his 2 sons. He was dead. I couldn't talk to him. But maybe there are some people in the world who can do that, but I don't know. So I was very impressed with Jesse. And colleague, we started looking around. He didn't have an exact date, but my colleague Bill Moore went to a big American library where he got newspapers back, found somebody else who said first week in July. He started looking, found a newspaper article that verified everything Jesse had said. It wasn't in the papers for a day and a half. I mean, the first day, the Air Force recovers a flying saucer, a ranch in Roswell region. They liked alliteration back then. The next day, Air Force, General Ramey, I think it was Barry's Roswell stories, something like that. Barry's Roswell saucer. And that was the end of it until I got gone. Well, Bill and I managed to find, well, sometimes you get lucky. Being from New Jersey and never having been in New Mexico, I don't think at that time. I wondered, does Roswell have a newspaper? So I looked at editor in the public, my library had it at the University of New Mexico. And Roswell Daily Record. There was another conference being held and sponsored by them in this very town as we speak. I called the newspaper. It's a funny conversation. What can we do for you? I'd like to talk to the editor from 1947. This is 1978. Yeah, what do you need? Well, I've got these articles here. It says that a guy in the basic public information office, I didn't know the base had been closed in the mid-60s. A guy named Walter Todd, his name spelled 4 different ways in the articles like that. Before I could finish the sentence, he said, oh, his wife works here. What? Walter's from Chicago, but he was based here at the base and liked it here, raised his family here, and yesterday one of his daughters was here. And one daughter, the late Julie Schuster, was the director of the museum for several years back sometimes. But that got me started, and we found 60 people connected with this. And the next year, it was another 35. Walter had a base yearbook, and he remembered a lot of the people, so he started hard work. You know, that was before the computer age. You don't just put in a name and see how many people are by that name. We started. My phone bill was enormous, but we found a lot of people, and it was certainly worth the effort. Because today, I think all but one of the 27 first-hand witnesses that are in my DVD, Recollections of Roswell, are dead. I mean, 70 years ago, you know, there was one younger guy who wasn't at the base, but knew about the case. So it became a chase. And it was funny, you'd call somebody and you ask him, yeah, he was at the base in 47. And what do you remember anything about a crash of a flying saucer? Well, yeah, I remember hearing something, but do you remember any of the names of the people who were involved? Oh no, come on, it's 30 years ago. And pretty soon we talked some more, and they remember Blanchard, they remember Walter now. And Jesse Marcel, many of them knew because as the intelligence officer, he briefed. There were a bunch of airplanes based here, and if a war had broken out, they'd be carrying atom bombs from here to drop on the Soviet Union. And they ran test missions, and Jesse briefed those guys. Airplanes meet up over New York, we know, simulated bomb and stuff like that. So, we got a lot of information, found a lot of people. And you find, you talk to the person and he doesn't remember anything, and then after 10 minutes, hey, did you talk to Joe Smith? Well, he was there, I just remembered. And he might not give you 3 or 4 names of people who might not know. So it's, I couldn't go to the computer and say, tell me everything about the crash of flying saucer at Roswell, New Mexico. There wasn't anything worth talking about. But today everybody's heard about it. A lot of it's misinformation. What the heck? I tell you a story, how do you prove them wrong? You wanted some attention. And also, I hate to say this, But there were some people putting out this information too. I know that seems strange, but the government sometimes puts out stories. Well, the good one was the first explosion of the atom bomb at Trinity site here in Mexico. They had their fingers and toes crossed, and it worked. You know, they thought about testing that inside a huge submarine metal because the plutonium took so much effort to produce it. If it doesn't work, they want to recover that plutonium. So they tested it inside this huge cylinder. They were going to. Fortunately, good science prevailed. They didn't. They hung it alongside. You can see it out of Trinity site, what's left of that cylinder. But that explosion was seen from 100 miles away. They're pretty spectacular explosions. And so everyone was calling the sheriff. What happened? I saw this 5:30 in the morning it was. A lot of farmers, ranchers here are up at 5:30 in the morning. I understand that in the daytime it's 180 degrees. And they had to put out some kind of story because there were so many calls from so many places. Ammunition not been blown up. Fortunately, nobody did. That was July 16th, I guess, 1945. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the 5th and 7th, whatever it was, of August. And then they put out the story that that was really the first nuclear explosion. I'm not blaming them for lying about that. They were very much concerned about several different things. But if the Japanese found out what city we were going to bomb, they put American prisoners of war there. Go ahead, guys. You know. So keeping a secret was very important. It's not only the technology, but yeah, you know the war. Well, most of you aren't old enough to remember, but the war ended a few days after the second bomb struck. I'm so glad. And people say, well, thousands of people were killed. The expectation was that if we had to invade Japan, there would be 1 million people killed. Many of them Japanese. A lot of Japanese, because they fought like hell in the war. Defend little islands and so forth to the last man went down. So history is a strange thing. Anyway, I pursued the Roswell story. The first book came out. I was working with Bill Moore. He had worked with Charles Berlitz of the Berlitz language schools. I think they're still around. Charles spoke 30 languages. He worked as a spy because he knew the languages so well. 100 years working. And Bill and Charles put out a book, The Roswell Incident, 1980. First book of the Roswell. I got a portion of the royalties. There have been many books since. But there is an enormous amount of interest in it. Well, let me turn, if I can hit the right button. Here we go. Oh, my background, just to justify. I worked at General Electric Aircraft Nuclear Propulsion Department for 3 years. Radiation shielding was my bag. Our budget, $100 million. 400 employees. It was fascinating work, exciting work, and they canceled our program. I was a neophyte. My dad worked for the same company for 37 years. I joined General Electric. They had a lot of nuclear divisions. Well, I'll be able to retire on 57. 3 years later, I left because I saw the handwriting on the wall. I told people that I don't think this place is going to be here for a year or two. It was a lack of direction on the program. And it was canceled for 16 months. And I was glad I got out when I did. Unfortunately, the company I went through had fascinating programs, fusion propulsion in space. That was exciting. In case you don't know, almost all the energy in your life is a result of nuclear fusion. That's what goes on in the sun. And all the other billions and billions of stars. And I worked on a study of fusion propulsion in 1962. Yeah, we can do it. You want to spend the dough? We can go. Nobody has, as far as I know. People are talking about a secret space program. They've been all over the place. I get people saying they go to Mars every couple of weeks and stuff like that. I am dubious, let's put it that way. Oh, that system that you see there. worked at GE. The budget, as I told you, was $100 million in 1958, 3,400 employees, et cetera. I'll show you one of the, I guess you can say it's one of the things we built. That's not a railroad car because you get radioactive if you operate for a while. Inside that central structure there is a nuclear reactor. That's the back end of 2 jet engines at the bottom, and you heat the air in the reactor and it goes out the back. And it would be able to fly for thousands of hours without refueling if you ever built one. We never really operated the jet engine on nuclear power. This was an early model, 1956. This is what a flight model would look like. Pretty hot stuff, but they canceled the program. But we did build some hardware, is the point. This wasn't, 3 or 4 professors sitting around talking about how nice it would be. At Archival General Nucleonics, small reactors for space and physical applications, and then fusion propulsion stuff. That was exciting. Because, people think of fusion, and they think of it at all as, oh, those are H-bombs. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. What they forget is that almost all the energy in the universe is produced by nuclear fusion. And if you do things properly, you can use it as a propulsion system. 1962, I worked on a study of that. You kick particles on the back end of a rocket that have 10 million times as much energy particles they can get in the chemical rocket. 10 million times, that's a big benefit if you're into that business. General Nucleonics, they changed management 3 months after I joined them and kicked out the 2 guys who started the company. I mean, that's my luck. And that's a nuclear-powered submarine. Would you believe go around the world underwater without coming to the surface?
Wow.
A World War II U-boat, that we were so scared of with the shipping and stuff, German submarines. They sunk a lot of ships. They can stay underwater for 24 hours. Needed air for the diesel engines. This can go around the world underwater. And probably the reason we haven't had a nuclear war, a lot of nasty people on the planet, is that when you've got submarines that can carry missiles that have nuclear warheads on them, your enemy doesn't know where they are. So if he fires rockets at you with an intercontinental ballistic missile that knocks out a city, you can fire back. He can't stop you because he doesn't know where those submarines are. So, it sounds crazy. Mutually assisted destruction. Mutually anticipated destruction? Oh, whatever. MAD. It's pretty bad stuff. And then, not only can you do that, I didn't make it. That's a nuclear powered aircraft there. 18 years without refueling. And if you're a ship captain, it's kind of nice that you can go full steam ahead. Year after year after year. The faster you go, the more fuel you use in a conventional carrier. So you got to have a tanker standing by, or 2 or 3. So it changed the dynamics of warfare, very much so. And there's an analogy here. The aircraft carrier, 18 years you can operate, those little airplanes on there, 2 hours without refueling. So we have motherships coming from another star system, fusion propulsion. Yet here, they carry a lot of little Earth excursion modules, just like those little airplanes on the aircraft carrier. We have reports of huge motherships, half mile long, stuff like that. They aren't seen near the ground. They're up there. The little ones come down, do their thing, and go back out. So what I'm saying is the notion of having a mothership and little ones, and they use different means of propulsion, is perfectly sensible. Now, the ideal system, of course, nuclear fusion. Now, don't let those letters worry you and the equations. He is helium. D is deuterium, heavy hydrogen. The important thing is in that top line, you see the parenthesis of that 18.3 MeV, million electron volts. That's how much energy those particles have. Normal chemical reactions involve 10 electron volts. We're talking about 18 million per reaction. So the point I'm trying to make here is that fission and fusion are a whole other ballgame. To illustrate that, a big bomb in the war was a 10-ton blockbuster. Beat the heck out of a city. Big explosion coming out. First nuclear weapon, 16,000 tons of dynamite. First one, big bomb, 10 tons of dynamite, equivalent energy released. First atomic bomb, 16,000 tons. First hydrogen bomb, fusion device, 1 million tons. So think about that. It's an enormous progression. If you're an advanced thinker, you say, well, we can use that for propulsion, can't we? We are capable of reaching the stars if we want to in the dome. I'm not saying we should. I don't think the guys out there would like us to be out there. If you were an alien, would you want Earthlings there? I mean, what a track record we have. World War II, we only killed 50 million of our own kind. Look at us. We destroyed 1,700 cities. After the war, we exploded, hate to admit it, 2,000 nuclear weapons. People think Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but there are a heck of a lot of other nuclear weapons. So, people say, why would aliens come here? To keep us from going out there, obviously. I mean, that's a lot of baggage with that background. Destroyed 1,700 cities. And most of you weren't old enough to remember that, but yeah, we did. There were bombing raids over Europe where there were 500 airplanes in formation flying over Europe and dropping bombs. More than once. Atom bombs are terrible. Kill lots of people, but conventional bombs kill lots of people too. Look up the bombing of Dresden, Germany. Thousands of people killed in one raid. So, you know, look at us the way aliens must look at us. Primitive society, major activity is tribal warfare. Make sure we don't let them out here. Well, isn't that what the attitude would be? You know, I hate to admit that I'm an Earthling too, but still. I worked at General Motors, not making cars. Would you believe we had a contract to build a military compact reactor? It would be portable. The Army would package it up, put it in an airplane, carry it off to where you needed the power. That program worked for almost 3 years before it was canceled. I kind of like General Motors was a good company to work with. I'll say that. My first year there, I got 4 weeks vacation. I was a young nuclear physicist. That was kind of strange. Had a parking place with my name on it. They treated us executives because we were on the Detroit Fuel very well. And then the nuclear rocket engine. And I'll show you some pictures of that. You can see the nozzle upward firing. This is not a railroad car because it becomes very radioactive. This was tested out at the nuclear test site. Less than 8 feet in diameter. Ours was 1,100 megawatts. It was very impressive. There's one, Area 51 is to the left. And those tanks are tanks of liquid hydrogen. And you don't want to be standing around when one of these things is operating. Radiation levels are pretty high. It's designed for upper stage, not for the launch field. Put it on top of another rocket, and when you get up there, you turn it on. And then you can triple your payload to Mars in comparison with a chemical rocket. And no, I have never been to Area 51. got asked that yesterday. They wouldn't let me see anything of what it was, because I don't have a need to know. Okay. I mentioned this, that read my first UFO book in '58. Given now more than 700 lectures. See the world, becoming of politics. I could never have predicted I'd be doing this full-time activity. Way past retirement age, as a matter of fact. I'm my own boss, so I can do what I please, kind of. And people like you were nice enough to come in here anytime. Here's my start on the Roswell story. And that put a temporary hold on my Roswell-related activities. And then, there's the date. February 1978. I was at that TV station. Again, I was in talking about flying saucers. I don't know anything about Roswell, crash saucers, etc. Well, I found out. And is Walter House daughter here? She approached me yesterday. She's younger than I was met her. And it's been a fascinating trip, finding people, trying to pick their brains, trying to remember what happened, who was there, all that sort of thing. And we haven't found any classified documents that tell the story. People say, can governments keep secrets that long? Damn right they can, believe me. I just went back and checked some reports that I'd written in late 50s. We're still classified 40 years later. I don't have copies of them. Not that I want them, I suppose, at this point in time, but kind of frustrating. What did you do when you worked in the business, Dad? Well, I wrote reports. Well, can I see one? No. There's Jesse Marcel. He was the intelligence officer. He's at the base here. This was in General Ramey's office. He was head of the 8th Air Force, of which the 509th was a part. And when the crash occurred, Colonel Blanchard instructed Jesse to take some of the records. First, Blanchard came in describing how he had found this crazy stuff out in his pasture for sheep. And didn't look anything like what you see when an aircraft lands. And I asked Jesse about that. He said there wasn't anything conventional there. See, the rancher came in because in the town of Corona, a couple days after he found the wreckage, he was talking to his buddies there, his weekly shopping there. And one of them had heard there was a reward for wreckage of a flying saucer. Maybe that's what this stuff was. Why don't you kind of go to the sheriff's office with the reward? He hadn't read the news, he didn't get a newspaper, he didn't have a telephone, but some of them did. Bill Mac Braswell was his name. So he came into town and went to the sheriff's office. Rodman's a big town. Corona, where he was a tiny little town. And the sheriff, by pre-agreement, called the base and talked to Jesse. Jesse was the duty officer on that Sunday, July 6th, I guess it was, 1947. And so, got the wreckage over there, and it wasn't like anything he'd ever seen before. He'd seen crashed airplanes. And when you have a crashed airplane at that time, Jesse served in the Pacific, the two things that stand out. If they come in, they blow up, and make a big hole in the ground. And two, you spread the wreckage out all over the place. But there's standard stuff. There's wires and vacuum tubes and all kinds of things like that. That's what you expect to find. There wasn't any of this out there. Because when the rancher came in and showed the wreckage, Colonel Blanchard, the base commander, told Jesse, take one of our counterintelligence corps guys out and see what's going on out there. So they both went out, they followed the rancher out, no way to tell anybody how to get there. It's not down the street and another street 3 blocks west. It's out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how many of you have driven around rural New Mexico, but there's not a lot of there. And they went out, they stayed overnight. The rancher showed them the wreckage the next day. They brought it back in their automobiles, came back to the base, and Colonel Blanchard looked at it and instructed Jesse to take a load of this stuff to the headquarters of the 8th Air Force, his boss's office, in other words, General Ramey's office. And so Jesse did that. When he got there, General Ramey says, "You don't say anything. I'll take care of it." When a general tells a major what to do, he does it. He said, "Why did he protest?" What? This is right after the war. You got an order, you do it. Lose your job. Some time in the pen. You don't follow orders. So they brought in some phony wreckage, radar reflector, weather balloon combinations, told the press, "Sorry, I made a terrible mistake." Made Jesse look like a fool. He couldn't say anything. Now, there was another man there, and I managed to locate him. That's the next day. The other man was the adjutant for General Ramey, Thomas Jefferson Dubose. And I thought, oh, maybe he's still alive. I knew Blanchard was dead, General Ramey was dead, Mac Brazel was dead. Well, let's see if we can find General Dubose. So I called West Point Alumni Association. I figured with a name like Thomas Jefferson Dubose, that sticks out. There aren't going to be a lot of people with that name. And the Alumni Association said, "Yeah, he's still alive. He's in his 80s. Lives in Florida." They wouldn't tell me where, but easy enough to find. Again, calling information and so forth. And I talked to him in person. When he visited in Florida, I had two visits with him. He told me something very interesting. He was there, he took the call from General McMullen, who was General Ramey's boss in Washington. And he gave him 3 orders. They knew each other, both West Point. Get the press off our back, I don't care how you do it. Send some of that wreckage out today with one of your Colonel Purrs, this is from Fort Worth to Washington. And I don't want you ever to talk about it again. That's an order, Colonel. Do I need to put it in writing? No, sir. And here again, a 2-star general gives an order to a colonel. He follows it. He doesn't quibble about it. But I found Tommy, so it was nice to get that from him in person. Couldn't do that now. Then I also talked to Jesse Marcel Jr. He was 11 at the time, and when that wreckage came back from out in the boonies there, Jesse Marcel showed some of it to his son because it wasn't classified at that time. As soon as he got to the base, it became classified. But Jesse remembers him, Dr. Jesse went on to become a helicopter pilot, a medical doctor. I know a few who've been at his home in Montana and Jesse's home, Jesse Sr.'s home in Houma. Great guy, died just a couple of years ago. His son is here someplace. Give him the lecture, I'm not sure which of the 10 facilities that are involved there, but great guy. Served, would you believe, he got called back into the military at age 68 to fly helicopters in the Middle East. He put in over 100 combat hours. I mean, you gotta be awful hard up when you call in somebody at 68. Wear the flak jacket, the temperature's 130 in the day out there in the desert. He wasn't complaining. He wasn't complaining. He served his country as a Navy for a number of years. Got shot down in Cambodia, came back. We were never in Cambodia. We were. I know somebody was there. And he didn't take the quick flight back. He came back through the ground. So I have the greatest respect for the Marsons. Very special. sell you a copy of Jesse's book, but I'm out with his pre-listed books. Get that. Next slide. There's Walter Howard. Great guy. Very well thought of here in town. I talked to people who knew him. He sold insurance. He ran an art gallery. Got an award for contribution to the community. Special guy. And I've had people say, oh, I'm just a PR, public information officer, PI, just trying to make a name. Total baloney. 20 missions as a bombardier over Japan during the war. Such a good bombardier, he was chosen to drop the instrument package over one of those nuclear weapons tests in 1946. You use your best guy, but you don't want to waste nuclear weapons. You got to get measurements, data, instruments. He was one of the founders of this museum. There's Glenn Dennis. Walter knew other people that he introduced me to. Pappy Henderson, he was on the records to write Patterson Air Force Base. He mentioned that Glenn Dennis might know something, so I talked to Glenn. He was a mortician. Got a call from the base, how do you get small caskets? They didn't say what they wanted it for, but so there were witnesses to find. I talked to a lot of them. I had a call, I put an article, a letter in the paper over in Socorro. Anybody who knew Barney Barnett, this was the Plains of San Augustine case. I get back in Minnesota, somebody came up to me afterward. Ever heard anything about a crash saucer in New Mexico? Well, yes. Tell me more. Well, Barney Barnett had told him about recovering wreckage of a crash out in Plains. So he knew Barney was dead. He knew his niece, and I talked to her, and we talked to a lot of other people. And billionaire Robert Bigelow supported some researcher, went out to the Plains, talked to witnesses. And I found a guy heard me on a radio program. He had been told by his commanding officer, who was in the military, that if you want to know about flying saucers, you got to talk to Barney Barnett. He's out in Socorro. So on his next trip out west, he called Barney. Barney wouldn't talk to him until he showed him his military credentials. And then told him about the crash saucer out in the Plains. Bodies on board. Strong cover-up by the military. Found other witnesses and so forth. So, yes, there was a crash in the Plains of San Augustine. This was, we were out. Gerald Anderson was a young lad who saw the wreckage out there. Fortunately, Bigelow, billionaire Bigelow, went with us. And we looked at the site, and yeah, and there was a plane that occurred crash out there. You can see how long ago the picture was taken. Here's Bob Bigelow. He was recently on 60 Minutes. Publicly stating his belief that there were crashed flying saucers and that planet was being visited. Aren't you worried about the ramifications? No. You're a billionaire. You don't need to worry about Simpsons. He has put up, Bigelow Aerospace has put up systems in space. Good guy. We need more like that to fund research. And then I looked around to find if anybody was still alive who had been in Truman's office. And we heard about some of this early stuff. That's when Roswell happened when Truman was president. And they said, well, you ought to talk to, they didn't tell me where he was, George Hussey. He worked for Truman the entire time he was in the White House. And he is still alive. Yeah, I was around Washington. They wouldn't tell me where, but I found him. Told them I had these MK-12 documents. We got a roll of film in the mail, and it said that President Truman had set up a group called Operation Majestic 12 to deal with Roswell wreckage and other things like that. and named the 12 people who were part of the team. The trouble is they were all dead, so I couldn't talk to any of them. So I found somebody who worked for Truman during this time, and I sent him copies of the documents with his permission and so forth. I had to be careful. I was afraid if he knew something, he couldn't talk to me, so I got to ask questions like, did you see anything about these documents that would lead you to believe they were phony? He could answer that. I didn't say, are they genuine? Because if he knew something, he might not be able to answer that, you know. So I met with him, I sent him documents, he was very helpful. You got to do that, get first-hand stuff. Elsie's in the picture. You and I are the head of the Red Cross. His life story is in a book, Good Man. Respectable, to say the least. There's that Possible Daily Record. That's Kevin Randall. He's changing his mind. He doesn't believe in MJ-12. That's his problem. Here's one of the documents. Here's the list of members. And there was one shocker, the third from the bottom, Developmental, was a Harvard University professor of astronomy who was a total UFO debunker as far as we knew. Wrote 3 anti-UFO books. How could he be part of a group that knew about a crash saucer, alien bodies, and all the rest of it? Oh, we got to be careful here. Well, to make a long story short, I've got a whole book about, which I don't have here because I'm still around. And I discovered that Donald Menzel led a secret life. Found proof after he was gone that I found a letter from him to President Kennedy at the Kennedy Archives. It's in Menzel's papers at Harvard, saying that he had a longer continuous association with the National Security Agency as anybody when we are properly clear to each other. This is Don writing Jack. I can tell you more. Let's get close to the president. Well, it turns out he did classified work for the CIA, for all kinds of other agencies, and 30 years worked for the NSA. You know, no such agency, NSA. Never says anything, those guys. So that opened up the ball game. If Menzel could conceivably have been part of this thing, obviously could, with these high-level security clearances and his close contacts with Kennedy, this is worth pursuing. So I pursued. There's a document we found, an original at the National Archives, and you can't read it, but it mentions MJ-12, Special Studies Project. And is the letter genuine or not? Well, Mr. Philip Klass, the nasty, noisy negativist, told me, oh, that document's phony. It's in the large pica type. The National Security Council used only small elite type, and I have 9 documents to prove it. He sent me copies. I challenge you to find any other genuine documents meeting a whole bunch of requirements. And I'll give you $100 each for every genuine one up to a maximum of 10. Well, I went to my courthouse immediately and found 20 documents done in pica type. I spent a lot of time at the Eisenhower Library. I sent him 20, and he accepted 2, but I was going to the Eisenhower Library. So I went there. It's easy to pick out. Pica type is big, the lead time is small. It turns out the Eisenhower Library has 250,000 pages of National Security Council material. To suggest that it was all typed on one typewriter is pretty ridiculous. Especially when I found out. Well, I sent him an invoice for $1,000. $100 each up to a maximum of 10. And he paid me. He got madder than hell when I published a copy of his check. You notice it says MJ-12 research down there. I told him, Phil, you sent me a check. I Xeroxed the check. I took the check to the bank. They cashed it. I can do whatever I damn please with that Xerox. And he shut up. But the crazy thing is, I found out after this that he had never been to the Eisenhower. You make a claim like that, and we're all supposed to accept it. So I like facts in hand before putting down the gear. I like check in hand too. Got it. Well, the pitfalls of the anti-ufologists are many. There's Dr. Menzel. Didn't like him while he was alive. I had one run-in with him. You can't be a scientist and believe in flying saucers, he said. Then I found out important material after he was dead. Then I developed a healthy respect for him. And I should tell you about General Harold Bollinger, an Air Force general. We found a memo 10 years after it was written, and he had been asked, what should we do about Project Blue Book? Because the University of Colorado said you ought to cancel it. They asked General Bollinger, who's an engineer working on a lunar excursion module, had nothing to do with Blue Book, what should we do about Blue Book? He wrote a memo, which we didn't see for 10 years, in which he said, reports of UFOs which could affect national security are made in accordance with JNOT 146, or Air Force Manual 55-11, and are not part of the Blue Book system. That's an extraordinary statement. The Air Force has been saying for years, Blue Book is it. That's where we have all the sightings investigated. 2 paragraphs later, he says, if we close Project Blue Book, the public won't have a place to report UFO sightings. However, as previously noted, reports which could affect national security will continue to be investigated using the procedures designed for that purpose. Again, exactly the opposite of what the Air Force has been saying for all those years. I decided I better talk to General Bollinger. So I located him. I'm pretty good at finding people, especially when their names aren't Tom Jones or Bill Smith or anything like that. And he was a general. And I said to him, you know, I read your memo with great interest. I gave him some of my background. I had a clearance and so forth. I said, it sounds to me like you're saying there are 2 separate communication channels about UFO sightings. One for reports which could affect national security. I said, I had one just a few weeks ago. A guy told me he was at a air base where nuclear weapons were stored, and the saucer went right down the runway. I should think that would be of concern to national security. He agreed with me. And I said, if my wife and I see a flying saucer while driving, big deal, it happens all the time. So 2 separate channels? Yes. And the question, of course, is where the hell did all those other reports go? The only important ones are ones that could affect national security. I'd say Majestic 12. And only after I did a lot of research, it's in a book, Top Secret Magic. Oh, there's the other picture. Dubose is the one on the right, General Ramey. He's holding a memo in his hand which says something about victims of the wreck. The balloons don't have victims of the wreck. Where I'm coming from, anyway. There's Tommy, when I spoke with him in person. Great guy. Here's my book about Majestic 12. Oh, I won debates. It's easy to debate people who don't know anything. I was a high school debater. I was on a state championship team in New Jersey. And there's a couple rules in debating. You can't make stuff up. Research for proclamation doesn't cut it. It's investigation. Yeah. So that's Michael Shermer on the right, Seth Shostak on the left with me. We debated. I got 57% of the vote. He got 33. 10% said, I don't know who won. Michael Shermer is head of the Skeptic Society, Dr. Shermer and Dr. Shostak. And I got 80% of the vote versus 20% for him. This is on coast to coast. You can't get by very long when you don't know anything about the subject.
Yeah, sure.
You know, when you ask somebody, well, have you read any of these 5 studies? And they have read none. They're kind of putting themselves behind the 8 ball. There's 2 of the books that Kathleen Martin and I have read. I've written, we've read them too. They're available at the table out there in front of the trash test dog. Fact Fiction Applying Saucers, our latest book, came out last year. How come smart people said stupid things about UFOs? We think we have the answer. This is where you are right now, just down the street from that. There's a lot of New Mexico. Not many people, but a lot of land. And Roswell, as you can see, is, and as you know from being here, is on the way to nowhere. A lot of places you can get to, but only nowhere. That yellow area is White Sands Missile Range. It's a huge base. Air Force put out the Roswell report and a supplement, and they came up with the crash test dummy explanation. The dummy's the one in the middle. You notice he's in Air Force gear. I talked to the man on the right, Colonel Matson. He was in charge of the program. Yes, they did indeed drop crash test dummies all over New Mexico. It wasn't for entertainment. Airplanes were flying over 40,000 feet. If you got ejected from a plane, A, you'd want to make sure you didn't kill the pilot while you ejected him. And B, you had to learn a lot about how soon you open parachute. You freeze to death first, problem. So they did a lot of drops. And you notice that he's in Air Force gear, the dummy. And the reason for that is that affects the drag, the heating, and so forth on the way down. And he pointed out to me that they didn't drop any of these until 6 years after Roswell. And at the crash test dummies were 6 feet tall, weighed 175 pounds. They were not 4 foot high little guys with big heads. And sometimes the arms and legs came off when they hit the ground. Made out of wood. What do you expect? But it's easy to tell lies if you're not, don't have to be accountable for it. Here's my book. I'm out of copies here, but you can order by me. There's Jesse Marcel's book, Junior. I'm out of those, but you can order by mail. There's Colonel Blanchard. There was a meeting in Roswell. We had a number of investigators. Jesse Marcel on the lower right, me next to him. Walter Houck behind me. Tom Carey is here, behind me next to Walter. Frank Kaufman, who told lies about Roswell until he was exposed by Don Schmidt. Loretta Proctor, whose brother was on one of the airplanes that flew some of the wreckage, Bob Shirky, and a Japanese reporter. This is what it looks like out there. Ain't nothing to see. People say they want to go out to the crash site. What for? This 2,000 square miles is up to Mexico, look exactly like that. There's Bill Moore and Jamie Chandray. I worked with them digging into Majestic 12. Her husband was one of the pilots who carried some of the wreckage from here to Wright-Patterson. There's the famous headline. That is not Royal Australian Air Force. It's Roswell Army Airfield. That's what it was called. And there's no cover up. Wow. This is a CIA UFO document. You can read 4 useful words. And if you think I was selective, well, sure I was. Here's another one. I love this line on another CIA document. Deny and total. They couldn't even declassify 8 words on the page. This is legal. This is an NSA document. We got 156 pages of top secret Umbra NSA UFO documents. Well, there was no problem. You could read 1 sentence per page. Everything else was whited out. They think we're stupid. Maybe some of the media people are who don't expose this nonsense. Here's that biggest study ever done. Here's the statement from Secretary of the Air Force Quarles. I feel certain that even the unknown 3% could explain conventional phenomena or illusions of more complete observational data had been obtained. That's pretty straightforward. It's not factual, but it's straightforward. Here's the breakdown. Notice the last line. The unknowns were 21.5%, not 3%. Oh, they just rounded it up. I had somebody try to tell me that. Oh, I mentioned that big, I forget the name. Anyway, this is that big device they were going to test the bomb in. That was moved 200 miles in secret. And it's monstrous. It weighs over 100 tons. They move strange things in New Mexico. one of the nuclear rockets. This is the Urja General System. Big fancy facility. Jackass flag. Here's my book, My Sources in Science. I have a few copies left. This is about the NJ-12 documents. Book about it. This is the Betty and Barney Hill story. Kathleen Martin did most of the work on this book, and we may speak again this afternoon. Is Betty's niece. So this is the inside story. Now, we still have some books left. And I appreciate your listening. Thank you very much.